The Morecambe Bay cockling disaster occurred on the evening of 5 February 2004 at Morecambe Bay in northwest England, when at least 21 Chinese undocumented migrant labourers were drowned by an incoming tide after picking cockles off the Lancashire, Cumbrian coast. Disaster. David Anthony Eden Sr. and David Anthony Eden Jr., a father and son team from England, had unlawfully hired a group of Chinese workers to pick cockles. They were to be paid £5 per 25 kilograms of cockles, far less than the typical local rate at the time. The Chinese had been imported unlawfully via containers into Liverpool and were hired out through local criminal agents of international Chinese triads. The cockles to be collected are best found at low tide on sand flats at Wharton Sands, near Hess Bank. The illegal alien workers were unfamiliar with local geography, language, and custom. They were cut off by the incoming tide in the bay at around 9:30 p.m. Although the emergency services were alerted by a mobile phone call made by one of the workers, only one worker was rescued from the waters. This was partly because the phone call was unclear both to the extent and severity of the danger and to the location, presumably through a lack of English language ability. A total of 21 bodies, of men and women between the ages of 18 and 45, were recovered from the bay after the incident. 2 of the victims were women. The vast majority were young men in the 20s and 30s, with only 2 being over 40 and only 1, a male, under 20. Most of the victims were previously employed as farmers, and 2 were fishermen. All of the bodies of the victims were found at a variety of trajectories, at 9 locations between the cockling area and shore, indicating that the majority had attempted to swim but had been overcome partly, or largely, by hypothermia. 4 of the victims died after the truck they used to reach the cockling area became overwhelmed by water. A further 2 cocklers were believed to have been with those drowned, with remains of one being found in 2010. At the subsequent hearing, it was reported that British cocklers returning to shore on the same evening had attempted to warn the Chinese group by tapping the watches and trying to speak with them. A survivor testified that the leader of the group had made a mistake about the time of the tides. 14 other members of the group are reported to have made it safely to the shore, making 15 survivors in total. The workers were all undocumented immigrants, mainly from the Fujian province of China, and have been described as being untrained and inexperienced. Prosecutions. David Anthony Eden Sr. and David Anthony Eden Jr., from Prenton in Merseyside, who bought cockles from the work gang, were cleared of helping the workers break immigration law. Gang master Lin Liang Ren was found guilty of the manslaughter of at least 21 people. Ren, his girlfriend Zhao Xiaoqing and his cousin Lin Muyong were also convicted of breaking immigration laws. Ren was sentenced to 12 years for manslaughter, 6 years for facilitating illegal immigration, and 2 years for conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Lin Muyong was sentenced to 4 years and 9 months. Zhao Xiaoqing was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months for facilitation of illegal immigration and perverting the course of justice. Media. The 2006 film Ghosts, directed by Nick Broomfield, is a dramatization of the events leading up to the tragedy. In 2013, artist Isaac Julian released his film 10,000 Waves about the disaster. The 2007 folk song On Morecambe Bay by folk artist Kevin Littlewood tells the story of these tragic events. This song was later covered by folk musician Christy Moore. A 2005 spoken word track by Momus Cockle Pickers relays the story of the tragedy.